Good morning, students. Today we are going to see the topic about money market. Actually, what is the meaning for the money market? Money market is mainly meant for the short-term funds only. Mostly deals with the financial assets or securities whose maturity does not exceed 1 year. Example, we can say it as commercial bills, treasury bills, certificate of deposits, government securities, etc. we can say. Now, let us see the objectives of the money market. Actually, because of the money market only, the surplus of the short-term funds as well as the deficits can be equalized. It also acts as a center point for the central bank for determining liquidity of the company. And also, it enables the short-term users to meet the requirements at a reasonable price. Next one is characteristics or features of the money market. First topic is short-term funds. Mostly, money market is purely for the short-term funds or the financial funds, which is otherwise known as near money. Second one is maturity period. The maturity period of a money market usually does not exceed 1 year. Next, third one is conversion of cash. Mostly the assets which can be easily converted into cash can be dealt in the money market at a minimum cost. Next topic is no formal place. Generally, money market, unlike like stock exchange, it does not have any formal place. So it can be taken place either by phone or oral communication. Whatever the documents related, written communications can be exchanged frequently. Next one is submarkets. Actually, it is not a single homogeneous market we can say because it has many submarkets. Mostly deals with a particular type of financing. For example, we can say call money market, acceptance market and bill market. Next one is participants. Who are the participants of the money market? Mostly the central bank, commercial bank or non-banking financial institutions, discount houses mostly deal in the money market. Next one is highly organized banking system. In money market, there is no chance for fraud and all because the commercial banks acts as a nerve center for the whole money market. Next one is existence of the secondary market. Actually, whatever the instruments deal in the money market, they should have an active secondary market for dealing these instruments. Next one is demand and supply of funds. Mostly, there should be a large demand and supply of short-term funds. This made the existence of the large domestic and foreign trade. And the 10th topic is wholesale market. Mostly it is a wholesale we can say because the volume of the funds or whatever the financial assets dealt in the money market is very large we can say. Next one is flexibility. Because of the greater flexibility only, they are able to introduce new instruments in the money market. And then presence of the central bank. The central bank only keep the cash reserves because actually they have the control over the other bank financial institutions everything. In case of difficulties, they can arrange the finance by discounting their eligible securities. Now students will continue. Let us see the differences between the capital market and money market. Features. First one is duration. Mostly money market already you know it is meant for only 1 year. Regarding capital market, it exceeds 1 year. Next is supply of funds. It mostly depends on working capital requirements. That is daily requirements can be met by the money market. But in capital market, only fixed capital requirements. Next, what are the instruments deals with it? Here in money market, bill of exchange, commercial paper we can say. But in capital market, shares, debentures, bonds, etc. Next, money value. Here, each instrument has high value. Suppose commercial paper means the minimum is 25 lakhs. and then treasury bill means 25,000 like that. But in case of a capital market, it has low value, we can say, because one share value is rupees 10 only. Next, what are the institutions involved in it? Here in money market, commercial banks and central banks. But in case of capital market, development banks and insurance companies. Now, place of transactions. No formal place is fixed in money market, but in capital market, it has formal place, we can say. It has some fixed place, we can say. And then risk. Here the risk is very low only, but in capital market, the risk is high. And the last one is liquidity. Liquidity is high. That means, what is the meaning for liquidity? Abdina, we can exchange it easily. That is known as liquidity. So in short-term funds, we can convert easily into cash. But in long-term funds in capital market, the liquidity is low. Now let us see who are the participants in the money market. Here, the government of different countries and central banks of different countries, even the private and the public banks, and then mutual fund institutions, insurance companies, even non-banking financial institutions, now RBI, SBI, commercial banks, state governments, and public. They are all involved in the money market. Now, what are the various instruments deal in the money market? First one, treasury bills. And then next one is money at call and short notice. Next, commercial bills and promissory notes. Next one is commercial papers, certificate of deposits and interbank participation certificates and repo instruments. First, students, you understand what are the instruments. Actually, these are the instruments, that is, these are known as the securities. Easily we can say it as a பத்திரங்கள். Mostly it is for the 1 year only. எதெல்லாம் ஒரு வருஷத்துக்காக நம்ம டீல் பண்ணுறோமோ அதுதான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம்னா மணி மார்க்கெட் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட்ஸ். மோஸ்ட்லி இந்த பத்திரங்கள் எல்லாம் பார்த்தோம்னா 1 இயரில் வாங்கலாம், திரும்ப மெச்சூரிட்டி பீரியட் அப்போ நம்ம என்ன பண்ணிடலாம், அதை ரிட்டர்ன் பண்ணி பணத்தை வாங்கிடலாம். அதுதான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்கிறது, மணி மார்க்கெட் இன்ஸ்ட்ருமெண்ட்ஸ்னு சொல்கிறது. So these are the instruments, these are the securities which can be involved in the money market, we can say. Now, first let us see the treasury bills. What do you mean by treasury bills? Mostly it is an instrument of short-term funds which are issued by the government for 1 year only. They are also known as zero coupon bonds. Why is it called as zero coupon bonds? We can say, for example, suppose the face value of any treasury bills is 100 rupees, we can say, but they are ready to give at a discount rate of 4%, means 96 rupees they are ready to give the instrument to you. But in return, we have to pay only for the, they will give the maturity as 100 rupees a week. 100 rupees for a பத்திரத்தை நம்ம 96 rupees வாங்கலாம். ஆனால் திரும்ப நம்ம கொடுக்கும்போது கையில் கொடுக்கும்போது அவங்க எவ்வளோ தருவாங்க, 100 rupees தருவாங்க. So mostly these are the issued at a price which are less than their lower value. And in that case, the treasury bills mostly it is available for a rupees 25,000 and in multiples thereof we can say. So hope you understood. Now we will see the features of the treasury bills. That is, mostly it has the characteristics such as issuer, finance bills, liquidity, vital source and monetary management. How the treasury bills can be issued, we can say now, either it can be issued 91 days, 182 days and 364 days. 91 days is meant for it can be issued at a fixed discount of 4%. Mostly it can be done only through auctions. Actually the RBI has the power to issue for 91 days and 182 days. It can be issued on top basis throughout the week. But in case of 364 days, these treasury bills do not carry any fixed rate of dividend. Sometimes the discount rate on these bills can be quoted to the participants by auction. Auction na ஏல மூலமா. So such a rate is called cut-off rate, we can say. Next topic is certificate of deposits. So hope you have understood the treasury bills. And this certificate of deposit is also a kind of instrument which is issued by these commercial banks and the development financial banks. Mostly these deposits can be issued to the individuals or corporations and then companies, because in case of liquidity, that is suppose the demand for the credit is high means they can be issued easily. Mostly these certificate of deposits helps to mobilize large amount of money for a short periods. குறுகிய காலத்தில் வந்து நம்ம சேவிங்ஸை வந்து நம்ம பப்ளிக்லேருந்து வாங்கணும் அப்படின்னு நினச்சோன்னா மோஸ்ட்லி இந்த கமர்ஷியல் பேங்க்ஸு இந்த கவர்மெண்ட்ஸ்லாம் இதை இஷ்யூ பண்ண ஆரம்பிக்கும். Now what are the features? It is a document to title, it has a document இருக்கும், but it is unsecured, எந்த செக்யூரிட்டியும் கிடையாது. It is can be freely transferred by endorsement, யார் வேணால் ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணலாம். Mostly it is issued at a discount less than face value குறைவாக இஷ்யூ பண்ணலாம். But it must be repayable at a fixed rate because no grace period is allowed. Now let us see the commercial bills. Actually commercial bills example நம்ம சொல்லணும்னா what are the bills which are issued between the two parties, we can say either the seller or the buyer. ரெண்டு பேருக்கும் நடுவில் இருக்கிற பில்ஸை இஷ்யூ பண்ணுறது தான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம்னா commercial bills ன்னு சொல்லுவோம். So mostly it is liable to make payment on a future date, at a specific date in future. இந்த நாளில் இந்த நேரத்தில் நம்ம பணம் கட்டணும் அப்படின்னு குறிப்பிடுறதா நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம்னா commercial bills ன்னு சொல்லுவோம். So in that case இதில் here the seller know they will fix the date and then they will issue to the buyer. That is the bill may be drawn on the name of the buyer. So after accepting the bill it becomes a marketable instrument, we can say. In that case the buyer know they can pay the amount at a fixed rate. Suppose if the seller needs any urgently அப்படின்னா they can be issued at a discount rate. டிஸ்கவுண்ட்னா நிர்ணயிக்கிற விலையோட குறைவாக வந்து என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கலாம், செல்லர் பணம் தேவைன்னா உடனே அதை பையர்கிட்டருந்து வாங்கிடலாம், ஆனால் அட் ஏ டிஸ்கவுண்ட் ரேட்டுக்கு தான் பண்ணுவாங்க. That is known as commercial bills. Now let us see the features. Here drawer is there. Drawer means one who draws the bill னு சொல்லலாம். Acceptor, accepts the bill. Payee, who is paying. Discounter, giving discount, like endorser, assessment, maturity and credit rating. Now let us see the various types of the commercial bills. First one is demand and usance bills. Suppose demand bill means there is no specific date is fixed on it. So it can be paid immediately. Whenever it is presented to a person, it can be paid immediately. But usance bills means it must be payable only at a specific period. இந்த நேரத்துக்கு குறிப்பிட்ட நேரத்துக்கு மட்டும்தான் அவங்க என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கணும், பே பண்ணணும். Next one is clean bills and documentary bills. Suppose if any document is attached to the bills means that is known as documentary bills. Suppose if no document is attached அப்படின்னா that is known as clean bills. For example you can say railway receipt, lorry receipt, இதெல்லாம் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லலாம், clean bills ன்னு சொல்லலாம். Next inland bills and foreign bills. Suppose if the bills are drawn and payable in India அப்படின்னா we can say it as inland bills to the residents of India. But if the bills are drawn outside வெளியே இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு, so for example between exporter and importer and payable either in India or outside India, we can say it as a foreign bills. Next indigenous bills it can be paid as per the customs levied. அந்த காலத்துலேருந்து என்ன ஃபாலோ பண்ணியிருக்காங்களோ அதுதான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்கிறது, indigenous bills ன்னு சொல்லலாம். Next one is accommodation and supply bills, because these bills they can be arised without any genuine transactions. எந்த டிரான்சாக்ஷன்ஸும் நேர்மையாக நடக்காமல் இருக்கிறதுனா அது மாதிரி நேரத்தில் இஷ்யூ பண்ணுறது தான் இந்த accommodation and supply bills. Now let us see the next topic, that is the last topic of this lesson, government or gilt-edged securities market. Here this is the market where the government securities or gilt-edged securities can be bought and sold. So mostly it is meant these securities are issued only for purpose of refunding the security, mature securities. That is even if they have not matured, for cash financing, that is they have to raise for the cash resources. குறுகிய மெச்சூரிட்டி பீரியடுக்கு முன்னாடி மெச்சூரிட்டி ஆகலைனாலும் அந்த பில்ஸை இஷ்யூ பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறதா நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்கிறது, இந்த செக்யூரிட்டிஸை கவர்மெண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டிஸ்ன்னு சொல்கிறது. Now let us see the characteristics. Mostly the agencies are involved in this are central government, state governments, semi-governments and even the local authorities. Now here the role of the RBI, it has an active role in purchasing and selling these securities because It includes in the monetary management also. And what is the nature of the securities involved? Mostly safe avenue of investment through guaranteed payment of interest. It is repaid by the government. எதெல்லாம் கண்டிப்பாக நமக்கு guaranteed interest ஓட வரக்கூடியதோ அது எல்லாத்தையும் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லலாம், government edged securities ன்னு சொல்லலாம். Now liquidity profile. Here the gilt edged securities varies according to the liquidity fixed by the central government. Mostly we can say the central government issued can be high in சொல்லலாம். Here what is liquidity na, எதெல்லாம் நம்ம இருக்கிற செக்யூரிட்டிஸை பத்திரங்களை ஈஸியாக நம்ம கேஷாக கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணலாமோ அதெல்லாம் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லலாம்னா லிக்விடிட்டின்னு சொல்லலாம். Now tax rebate, because it has the advantage of tax rebate also, because it can be used for redemption of the tax purposes. tax அப்போ குறைவாக பே பண்ணுறதுக்கு இது மாதிரி செக்யூரிட்டிஸ்லாம் ரொம்ப யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும். And then market, mostly it has to be negotiated, transferred easily over the counter in counter market. So the government also fixed these securities market as two types, primary and secondary market. Now let us see the forms. These securities of the central and state governments are formed as inscribed stock, or stock certificate, or promissory note, or bearer bond. Inscribed stock na only it is issued by the central government. Government-ஆல எதெல்லாம் நம்ம ஷேர்ஸை விற்கிறோமோ அது வாங்குறோமோ அதை தான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம், இந்த inscribed stockன்னு சொல்லுவோம். And then next one is participants. Who are the participants in these government securities means, so we can say it as central government, state governments, because these whose holdings mainly represent the government transfer of resources. And the next one is trading. Actually in secondary market of the government, trading is narrow, small and less activity in சொல்லலாம். So in that case the banks or corporate holders mostly they purchase and sell securities on the stock exchange. They also participate in the trading purposes. And then issue mechanism, mostly the PDO, which is meant as Public Debt Office of the RBI, they are in charge of the issuing the government securities. And now issuing open, it is mainly open for public also. And then grooming gradual, suppose these securities can be meant by the RBI in order to facilitate redemption. மோஸ்ட்லி ஆர்பிஐ இதெல்லாம் திரும்ப வாங்கிறதுக்காக மட்டும் ஏற்படுத்துறது அப்படின்னு சொல்லணும்னா அது க்ரூமிங் கிராஜுவல்னு சொல்லலாம். ஸ்விட்சிங் மீன்ஸ் சப்போஸ் ஒன் செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் மே பி ஸ்விட்ச்ட் ஆஃப் டு த another securities, that is ஒன்று ஸ்விட்சிங். ஒரு 1000 ரூபாய்க்கு ஒரு பத்திரம் வாங்கிட்டு அந்த பத்திரத்தையே திரும்பாமல் இன்னொரு பத்திரம் 1000 ரூபாய்க்கு நம்ம திரும்ப செலுத்தினோம்னா அதை தான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம், ஸ்விட்சிங்னு சொல்லுவோம். Now last one is auctioning. Mostly these trade can be done by the merchants bid against one another, where the securities can be sold to the highest auction. ஏலத்தில் எது அதிகமான ஏலத்தில் பணம் கிடைக்குதோ அதை தான் நம்ம என்னன்னு சொல்லுவோம், auctioning சொல்லுவோம். So we will conclude this lesson, students. Listen and try to understand the students. Try to understand the lesson. These lessons are all very important. It can be used for your future purpose also. Thank you. Have a nice day.